guys speak Hindi, or do you, most people, many of them I know in India can speak English, but do you speak Hindi?
First of all, praise the Lord that the video worked.
Yes.
And there are so many languages in India.
Over 2,000.
It's hard to fathom. There's no other nation in the world with so many languages. Kind of imagine Europe, where each state is a country and has its own language. So there's 29 official languages, like if you would be in Europe.
State languages.
State, right. Hindi is just one. It's the one you happen to have heard of, and it's dominant in the north. Nobody down where we live speaks Hindi.
It's actually taken as a second language and third language.
So, like I speak Spanish, because I took 2 years of Spanish, and unfortunately I didn't pay enough attention. And I wish I would have come in really handy. I can't speak Spanish, even though I took 2 years of Spanish. That's the average person who is required to take a little bit of Hindi, but so no.
So
English is the best language for us to use because we're helping these kids out of poverty. By them learning English, they will have so many more opportunities in life. So we focus on English.
we basically say that in English, and it's true in India, English is a ticket out of poverty. I mean, you have to have the education also, but our state language is Telugu, and the students who are not, so in India, if you're in the city specifically, you have the option of going to an English medium school where you study your classes in English, or the state language, which in ours would be Telugu. So most of our kids come from Telugu schools before they come to Kids Hope Harbor. And then the school that's on the compound where we have our children is an English medium Christian school run by a Christian man in our church there. And so it's a big school. It's about 1,600 students, goes through junior college, and our kids are in that school. So they are learning English. They're learning to speak English. We spend a lot of time when we're there talking with them, and it's amazing to watch the progress. Even some of the ones who were, maybe they came when they're in 4th grade or something, and they really didn't speak English, but they have to learn it in order to be able to do their schoolwork. So after a couple of years, they're able to communicate pretty well with us.
They all speak at least 3 languages because in the villages wherever they came from, they're speaking a different language. Even out in those villages, and one village is here and the other village is 20 miles away, those languages might be so different that 2 people cannot communicate. That's how diverse India is. It's a crazy place. If you look at languages of the world, you can see, how many languages are in China, how many languages are in Pakistan.
Languages are basically people groups.
But then India, boom, it's the only nation with over 2,000 distinct languages. It's a very crazy diverse place. So even in our orphanage, our children's home, there's multiple languages being spoken, so they have to use either Telugu to communicate to each other, or English. And Telugu is not going to get them very far in life. English is going to get them way above and able to provide for their families. If they don't do well in school, they're going to end up with $5 a day. $5 a day, sorry, I just have to put an emphasis on that. Try to imagine being paid $5
On the days that you work.
That's not enough to eat enough, clothe yourself, provide for your family, whatever. But that is the average, the median salary for those who live in India. That 1.4 billion, you have over 700 million of those who are making under that. I hope you're letting it sink in. Incredible poverty.
And that situation is, a lot of times people kind of distance themselves from America and think, oh, obviously it's cheaper there. No, it's not. It is not cheaper there. In fact, gas is more expensive, like gas for your car, gas for your heating, cooking is more expensive. Electricity is more expensive. Yes, rice is subsidized, just like, you know, bread would be for some people. Anyway, so it's not cheaper. If you make $5 a day there versus here, you're gonna live. The problem, for example, in India, here in your area, you couldn't live outside because of the weather in the winter, right?
Too extreme.
So there you can. So everybody's living in huts that they built out of, you know, thatched.
Yeah. If the temperature here did not drop below freezing, imagine that. If it never dropped below freezing, homeless people could build something under a tree and survive. So that's how they're doing it in India, is you just got the masses. They've got thatched whatever, something that they found. Yeah, it's mind-blowing as you drive around or see it, or we've been into hundreds of villages because we've put wells in 517 wells so far. That means we've been in almost 517 villages, because almost every well. Sometimes the village is big enough where we've been two. But most of the time it's the one well, or helping the section of that village that has no water. Or in some cases the Hindus, the dominant Hindu group and temple, a well will have been put in at the temple. But if you declare yourself a believer, you are no longer allowed to pollute that well in their terms by bringing your crazy faith into that location. So once you declare I'm a Christian, you no longer have the freedom to walk into there and pump your well at the Hindu temple. So that's where, in many of these cases, we're providing a well and then opening up to everybody. And that is really bizarre for them, because they're like, we don't share with you. Why are you sharing? And then you share about Jesus is totally different. And, you know, I'm just going to reread that same verse, the one that, John 14, 6. We quoted it up there. Jesus answers, I am the way, and the truth, and the life. No one comes to the Father except through me. There's no other option. If you want to have salvation, you cannot get it through any of the other. There are no other gods. In their minds, there's thousands. But in we know there's one. And he's a wonderful, loving, he loves us. Yes?
Back to water wells. When you decided on a village, right? Somebody's got to own the land that the well is on, and then do you have the same driller and the crew to put the concrete in?
So, yes, we have, Sam is the one that organizes it, and his brother, James, and we have several well drilling companies that we use, and so what we do is the pastors will be the ones who kind of recommend these areas and where places need wells. We try to do the wells within 3-hour drive for the, and then the well driller will take it's usually 2 rigs, and they go up to the area, and we'll have at least 3 ready, typically 3, I believe, ready to be done in that area. So they stay up there and do those wells over several days. And we do, the wells are typically near a church, a pastor's church or a Christian's home. But so that, just depends on the situation. But we also make sure that, because we had problems in the past where we were stopped from drilling, starting to drill and stopped from the village head and the village. So now they get the village head to, in writing that they agree that this well is acceptable, and they know that we're allowing the well is open for everybody. So, so they're usually okay with it. Up until recently, we would put on the Bible, on the plaque, a Bible verse with a scripture that said, I am the living water, he who comes to me will never thirst again. That verse, but because of the atmosphere.
A lot of vandalism and opposition simply because of
and
verse, and even been told we can't even put them in anymore.
So
we put on there now, love your neighbor as yourself or something. but it doesn't have a reference. Because it's like, how to do it?
Yeah.
How? We still want to bring the well, which brings the pasture and then brings the questions and the answers. It's either that or not at all. And so we've had to figure out, because it's become more hostile. We were describing this to someone that at one point at the beginning, it was wide open. Come on in, thank you, you're helping the poor, we don't care about religion. That was 2008. Now we're at 2025. No longer welcoming and hostile and more persecution, more animosity, whatever. So we're having to figure out how to continue without completely shutting it down. So anyway, it's a bit different, but anyway, I hope.
So one of the things we talk, a lot about is the children that we work with, and we have sponsors for the children, and we help them all the way, as Steve mentioned earlier, about getting through college if they want, and even be in second college if they need. There's a lot of competition in India because the population is so young that there's just thousands of people applying for the same job. So a lot of times it's really hard for kids to get into the position of a job where they got their education. We have a number of boys, young men, who got their education in electrical, like almost like a trade school. And, it's really hard for them to find a job, even though it's an important and necessary job, and there are a lot of jobs in that field. But to get a decent job, it's a hard competition. And yet we're doing what we can to help them with the help of our sponsors. And the thing is, it's just exciting to see them become young adults and to get involved in society and to have an influence that we would never have. And so we've known some of these kids since they were 5, and a couple of the young men are now 24, 25, and both the two I'm thinking about right now have jobs in. Is his in an airport also? Well, it's Naveen's new job. Is it an airport also? Yeah, so both of them got jobs in international airports in different cities. And so it's amazing to watch them, to spread out and get jobs and to be able to be an influence among society as a Christian witness. Both strong believers, love Jesus, and been baptized, which is important there because if you're not baptized, they don't really look at you as necessarily a strong Christian. But if you're baptized, it means you've basically rejected the Hindu faith.
It's all very official.
Yeah.
You change your transcript.
Yeah, you change your name. You're not
you
your
have
name,
to
but
declare. It has to be in writing, and then it changes benefits and everything. And so to go to that level and actually cross that line, you're taking a big step of faith. You know that there will be consequences, potentially reducing opportunities and all that. So we're very happy that our kids, and as they're growing up, they're declaring. Even like this Naveen, my first question, you got a new job and you're down there. Which church? And do you have Christian friends? Oh yes, uncle, definitely. I found a church and I have a Christian. Thank you. Praise the Lord, because some kids, they grow up and they reject the good news. We see it all the time in the world. So we're happy that most of our kids have stayed strong. I
want to share a story about one young lady that just as a future hope for her. Her name is Shanti, and she is actually the second daughter of a pastor's family that has 5 girls. And so they, it's kind of, usually in India, they really want a boy, at least one boy in their family. And so it's kind of weird. It's kind of like they look down a little bit when they don't have any boys. But anyway, Shanti is a serious believer. She's about 18. She's about 18 now.
I don't know, 19 something.
Yeah. And she is a leader. She's a leader type person. So she'd always help do the prayer times and lead the songs and stuff in our children's home. And when she got to junior college, she said, I want to go to a special junior college, and because junior college starts in 11th grade there, 11th and 12th are junior college. So she said, I want to get my education in a special school that is through the government that is training you to become a civil servant, a leader in the government. And so we're like, wow, okay, because that is not easy to do. It's a hard course, and it's also hard as a believer. And she's determined that's what she wants to do, and she can do it. If anybody in our group can do it, she can do it. She's strong, she's smart, she's determined, she's a strong believer. So she went. Actually, she's the furthest one away that we sent at that time, and she was pretty young. And she went to this junior college about 7-hour drive away, and she was there for 2 years. And they closed that branch, and now she's back in our city, and she's in another. That now it's college, and for the same purpose. And so it's just exciting to see that she will have an ability to become an influencer in society, and a Christian example and godly witness to those people. India is so lost, so few believers in comparison to the number of people there are. So it'll be, it's just amazing to be able to be part of that, to help these kids through their sponsors. Obviously, we're just kind of the, what do you call that? I don't know, we're just the conduit. That's the word I'm looking for. To get those kids to be able to have that education, but especially to be growing in their faith and to know Jesus and share His love to the people around.
Okay, I'm going to talk numbers.
Are we need to quit soon?
Like 12:15? What time? What time do you stop?
It's about 10 after.
When you're done.
Okay, we'll just finish with this, and then we'll continue. We'll be sitting here and enjoying that yummy smelling stuff smelling up down there. Anyway, numbers. So we do wells. That's $1,900 per well, and it's our guarantee for the next 10 years to keep that well functional. That well's going to be used by an average of 250 people are going to drink water from that well daily. That's been our average. What that will mean is about 50 or so women or kids will be the ones actually pushing and putting the number of whatever you saw, carrying 5 or 10 of those back to their house to take care of their 5 people or whatever. So if it's 5 people times 50, that's 250, right? All right, so that's roughly kind of a typical situation. Those things get worn out, and so we'll send, let us know it breaks. We'll send out the crew. They'll pull it up. They'll rechange the fittings, or they'll fix. So our goal is to keep all of them going about 10 years. After 10 years, the thing looks totally trashed, and at that point, we usually are fundraising, contacting if the person's still living and saying, hey, your well's done great for 10 years, and now it's really needing to be fully, all new parts, all new top, everything, and that has been costing us like $800-900 to, because you still have, the hole's still there, and the casing's still there, but anyway, so that's our wells, wells on finance or whatever. Widows, 208 widows, we give them about $13 a month. It's not much. But if you times 13 times 208, you're over $2,000 that we need to fundraise every month to keep those widows. We can't fix all the widows' troubles. We can't, it's not a full program where we take care of every aches and pain and surgery. It's not possible. We do pay for a lot of funerals. So when they die, we give them a respectful funeral, which is a couple $100. Periodically, something happens and somebody wants to help them with some surgery or something, but we can't generally. It's just impossible. Massive amount.
So then there's the pastors, and we have about 28 pastors right now, and we are giving them about $100, right?
$100 a month is so that's $2,800 a month that we
yes,
need.
for the pastors.
Not counting all the stuff. We're more inclined, like every accident, we've covered their cost of whatever happened to a major sickness.
Hospital,
so we end up paying quite a bit on
medical, their families
going.
And then the children are, we have sponsorship for the kids, and because the kids that are with us, except for the ones that are in college, most of them are, so there's about 45 kids on the campus and going to school or junior college from the campus, and they're 24/7 except for when they go home for their holidays. And so it costs, it's not like a typical I don't know, people do sponsorship of kids, and it's actually more of a day after school program, and
If
so.
if you have a compassion child or a Hope Vision child, those are after school programs.
And so ours are there 24/7, education, a good school, and housing and staff. We have about 15 staff or 20 max there taking care of the kids. And so the kids, the sponsorship, originally we had it at $40 a month, and now it's $80 for the younger kids, and then $120 for for the college kids. So we actually have, most of our kids have at least 2 sponsors, because some do 40, some do 80. And so the sponsorship is that. And every year we have a churn around of kids. Some leave because they got jobs, some come, new ones come. So we're always in the middle of working on that. And we actually have a gift for the, you guys, delays, because it's from their, in fact, I'll go get it right now.
So anyway, when you add all that up,
Sometimes you lose a child because other people go, we want to help.
Yeah.
And so they took our little girl and shared her with them.
Well,
overall, yeah. Okay.
so basically so I want to say, we didn't mention, we have a couple, American couple. So this is Ganesh, right? So this is Ganesh. He's in college, actually in the university now. And he's still living at Hope Harbor because he lives nearby. So this is a plaque that is his face and Bible verse on
This
it.
is a letter he wrote.
He wrote it to them. So we have a couple in America that are supporters of ours named Steve and Gail Brown, and they are helping us now with that sponsorship, and even with the pastors also too. And so sometimes when someone wants to change a sponsorship to full sponsorship, then we have to switch some partial sponsorship to someone else. So that's kind of a tricky thing when people get connected. We didn't mention about the pastors. What I mean is, we are now, with Steve and Gail's help, people are wanting to specifically sponsor a pastor. They have had prayer partners for all the pastors. If you're interested in being a prayer partner for a pastor, let us know. We don't have printouts. We meant to make them. We didn't make them on this trip, but for the pastor's family.
Do you have a printer? Where are we standing? Do you guys have a printer, Cindy?
Yeah. So we
have
have.
hands on to you.
So the pastors, we're getting prayer partners, and then we're also now asking if you want to be a direct, we didn't do sponsorships before for pastors because time-wise, we just don't have time to manage it. But if you want to be a sponsor for pastor and do $100 a month, then Steve and Gail will connect you to that pastor and give you a report about them and prayer requests and stuff so that you know
It's
specifically.
a great way to connect specifically to a family who's doing amazing work in a village. And usually it's more than one village. They have the place where they live, and so they'll have some believers in that location. And then these well things, they'll have a village a mile away or 2 miles away, maybe 2 or 3 of these places where they're trying to branch out and build, share the gospel with more people and have a group established. They all would like a church. You guys have just an absolutely beautiful church. It's not only this room, it's got fellowship area, it's got a kitchen, it's got rooms for, you guys have an amazing church. Every one of our pastors, those 28 pastors, they would think they died and went to heaven if they got something like this. This is just like
even this building.
Mostly they have a little room or a little thatched thing, or they meet under a tree. Not uncommon at all, especially in those outlying villages. To build a church, not even thinking about this, but to build a church that would be, say, this wide, and
15 by 25
let's say that long. It's about a $10,000 project. Because it's concrete and rebar and roofing materials and whatever. It's not going to have AC or anything, but it'll have a couple of fans. And they would love it. They would absolutely love it. They all want one, or 2, or 3. And so, if anybody wants to throw out $10,000 and help, and we'll build a church for that. We got pastors lined up, pleading, "Can we have it? We want a church to replace the tree or the thatched, whatever, to have a concrete building." So that's another thing we do. We also provide transportation. like motorcycles. You might have seen a couple, I'm not sure.
Our last pair
they're
that
about $1,000 to $1,500. And so sometimes a donor will say, I'd like to provide some transportation, and they'll give us $1,000 or $1,500. We'll buy, you can buy the cheapest one for $1,000 and a nice one with some extra bells and whistles for $1,500. It'll get their family, literally.
Family
a
of 5.
family of 4 or 5 on that motorcycle, as well as the him to get around to the places empty. So that's something we continually do. All together, when you add it all up, we send to India about $20,000 each month. So when you add everything, so we do what we do here to share about it. People get interested and they start supporting monthly or give one-time gifts or whatever. On average, every month we're sending to our Indian partners to do all that, to keep everybody fed, everybody housed, everything working, all those children, everything is a roughly $20,000 a month goal, plan. That's what it's been. Okay, so I think we should stop.
So in the video, Steve, there was a kind of a little green building, 3 crosses on it. But that's probably one of the.
Yeah.
churches.
Probably
Churches,
little
yeah.
churches. There were several pictures of little
Yeah,
churches.
little booger building of it.
Yeah, they're small.
It wasn't ADA accessible either.
You know, and
All that stuff.
again, with $5 a day, most of those people in those churches, they make $5 a day. They're the poor. And you cannot expect them at $5, let's tithe off of that. You know, let's try to provide for the pastor, let's pay the bill for the fans to run or the lights, which is actually, again, she said it is more expensive per kilowatt hour. I can show you my bill in India. Per kilowatt hour cost me more than my bill in America per kilowatt hour. So it just doesn't add up. But the bag of cement to build the building costs the same because cement around the world is, they'll ship that stuff anywhere they can sell it for whatever price. And in India, it costs the same as it costs, so whatever you pay for a bag of cement, you can go to the store there and it's going to be within a few, 10% up or down of that. So the cost to build that church still costs. No labor, that's cheap. But the materials and stuff. Okay, guys, we'll answer all your questions, anything later, and we'll eat. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Pastor.